Hello you fantastic people, and welcome back to Borderlands 3, to another exciting video that I'm keen to bring to you guys. Today I've killed Tyreen 50 times on True Vault Hunter mode and Mayhem 4 to test the Mayhem 4 dedicated drops across the Borderlands 3 named bosses. We've done a little bit of a series of this so far. I think we're up to number 6 or something like that of the named bosses. We've killed them all 50 times to compare, one, how many legendaries they drop, just to see who's the best for dropping well drop legendaries, how many anointeds they drop, how many class mods, how many artifacts, as well as the dedicated drop rates for their old weapons. That was from the start of the game. For example, we're doing Tyreen today and she has the King's Call and the Queen's Call, just to try and test how often they're dropping essentially. And then on top of that, we're testing for the Mayhem 4 dedicated drops, which a lot of people don't know are actually a thing. In Mayhem 4, when it came out, the big update, they actually released new guns that are dedicated just for Mayhem 4. You can't get it in Mayhem 1, 2, 3, or no Mayhem modifiers. It has to be Mayhem 4. Normal Vault Hunter and True Vault Hunter actually don't affect it as long as you're in Mayhem 4. But I do True Vault Hunter mode just to test the sheer amount of legendaries we can get. And why not just make things harder for myself? And I assume most of you guys will know that Tyreen is the final boss in the game, Tyreen the Destroyer. And she's a super hard boss fight. Her herself, not too bad. If you guys have tried her in Mayhem 4, she does a fair bit of damage, like her attacks are pretty good. But I died every single time to the Varkids. I'm not kidding. Those Varkids are the most painstakingly powerful and have so much health. It's ridiculous. Like, it's actually crazy. Now, I'm not trying to pretend like I have a fantastic build and I'm the best at this game. It's not a thing. It's not true. I'm not great. I'm terrible at accuracy, but I love this game and I play many hours. So I try and have the best builds I can. I'm always looking up new builds to make sure I've got the best one at the current time with all the current guns, etc. I can destroy her pretty quickly now after a lot of practice and a lot of different techniques or strategies, different weapons, etc. But the Varkids are the worst. This video legitimately took me 3 days to put together, probably a good 12 hours worth of farming, just from changing up techniques, changing guns, and just trying to work out how the heck not to die every time. Because I'm pretty sure out of the first 20 runs, I probably died 40 times, and that's probably not an exaggeration. So as a result, if you guys aren't complete pros and 1,000 times better than me, if you guys need any help, my suggestions are for my build. I went with a King's Call, which of course comes from Tyreen, so assumingly you don't have this one yet, but it is the best weapon once you finally get it. It does a crap load of damage, it's crazy. The Cutsman is also amazing. I use that as a secondary, fantastic weapon, does so much damage, particularly in Mayhem 4. I think it stands out more than any other weapon as an upgrade from Mayhem 4. My Shredder Fire, just to try and shoot as many bullets as possible to try and get those Varkids down, and as well as my Lucian's Call, because the ricochet effect just tries and takes out as many enemies at once, as well as it's great for hitting crit spots like consistently without having to reload and try and get my fadeaway back. For shield, I changed a whole bunch of times for different bonuses and stuff. I ended up just going with sheer capacity again. And my bounty hunter class mod comes with assault rifle damage, Hyperion weapon critical damage, because I was switching between my Shredder Fire and my Crossroads to try and take out those Varkids, and Jacob's weapon at critical damage. So I also was using my Rowan's Call because, you know, Jacob's and assault rifle damage was getting a lot of damage there, which of course I know these things do take a long time to add up, but as long as you can get a few of these going, you'll have a bit of a chance against Tyreen, and just trying to put out as much damage as possible because you want to try and kill her ASAP. Now, I won't run through the entire skill tree because that's going to take a long time, but if you guys want to pause it and have a look for yourselves and compare it against yours and maybe use it, up to you guys, but yeah, just pause it and check it out if you're interested. Now, I'll just have a few runs showing on screen now, just so you guys have a general idea of my strategy, if you can call it that, against Tyreen. Essentially, it's just drop down, fade away, use King's Call, and just go absolutely ham. She has about 4 immunity stages if you can kill her quick enough. Sometimes you can bypass them if you're putting out enough damage. But essentially, you just want to be trying to get the fight over and done with as quickly as possible. So go for high damage weapons. If you guys have any tricks with weapons, I know there's heaps of different stuff you guys can try out. Just try and work out what is the best way for your character to put out as much damage as possible. Because the longer the fight goes on, the more chances she has to fly away and use those attacks in which she's immune in. So you're getting damage and you don't even have a chance to attack her. And the longer the fight goes on, the more the Varkids evolve, because they have so much health. I was actually putting in a lot of effort to try and kill them off, to try and keep them from evolving. As soon as there is a badass Varkid, it absolutely destroyed me every single time. He jumped in front of me several times, and it's not like it's, you know, halfway through the fight. You get to the very last bit of her health, and it will dive in front of you and just absolutely destroy you. And there's not quite enough time to kill Tyreen to get yourself back up, and there's no chance you're getting a badass Varkid from full health to nothing in a fight for your life. It's just not happening. So if you guys have any suggestions of how to destroy Varkids in like the 20 seconds you have or 15 seconds you have, leave in the comment section down below, because I personally just try to use Lucian's Call and Shredder Fire and just try and hit criticals, because most of the time I was just getting destroyed and I spent most of the time making sure they couldn't evolve. Okay, but now for the stats. The legendary items Tyreen dropped after 50 runs on Mayhem 4 True Vault Hunter mode was 146 legendary items, which is crazy. It is second only to Grave Ward at 147 at 50 runs. So she is amazing at dropping legendaries. She drops a whole bunch of them. She's second out of the, I think, 7 bosses we've tried so far. Troy was third at 141. So those 3 are the top 3 for legendary items, which is great because Troy and Tyreen are both hard boss fights and endgame bosses, so they should be dropping a lot of legendaries relatively to the rest. And Grave Ward has just always been the MVP, to be honest. As for anointed weapons, Tyreen dropped 20 anointed legendaries out of the 50 runs, which is pretty decent. She comes third overall. Troy is number 1 at 25 and Gigamind at 22. So there's now 4 bosses that are all about the same between 25 and 20 anointed weapons, being Tyreen, Troy, Gigamind, and Grave Ward. All 4 great options for anointed weapons. The other ones we've tested don't have anywhere near that ratio. As for artifacts, Tyreen actually dropped the number 1 amount of artifacts at 19 with 50 runs. Grave Ward coming second at 17. Class mods she did lose out though. She only dropped me 12 class mods over the 50 runs, which isn't as good as Grave Ward, who is number 1 at the moment. As for successful runs, she actually only had 3 runs in which she didn't drop as a legendary, which is pretty damn good. Out of 50 runs, she's actually tied for second with Gigamind. Grave Ward's the only boss that has actually only had 2 unsuccessful runs out of the 50 attempts. So all 3 are pretty damn good places to farm. And of course, with such a high legendary drop rate, she actually drops a fair amount every single time whenever she does drop legendaries. The number 1 run was 7 legendaries in 1 drop, and she did it 3 times, I believe, which is pretty damn fantastic. Now, as for dedicated drops for Mayhem 4 specifically, we didn't actually get any dedicated drops in the 50 runs of Tyreen, which is a little disappointing, to be honest. Being the last boss, I figured she would have dropped at least 1, maybe even 2 was I was hoping for. But to be fair, she does drop the King's Call and the Queen's Call, and she has done so since the start of the game. And those are 2 of the best weapons in the game, particularly for flak. It does an absolutely crazy amount of damage. But also the King's Call and the Queen's Call actually don't have the drop rates they used to. They're nowhere near what they used to be like. I think I might have only got 1, maybe 2 of the King's or Queen's Calls out of my 50 runs, and I'm pretty sure they were both cryo, which is not helpful for my build because I don't use cryo weapons. But of course, if you guys are going for the King's or Queen's Calls, you don't actually have to be in Mayhem 4, just to clarify. You can get this in normal mode, Mayhem 1, 2, 3, or 4, or just no Mayhem modifiers at all. You don't actually have to, because they're dedicated drops and will drop regardless of your modifiers. The only difference is with the Mayhem 1, 2, 3, or 4, the higher Mayhem level you're in, the higher chance it has to drop as an anointed weapon. Which, to be fair, if you can handle Tyreen at Mayhem 4, it is actually worth, because I'm still going to be farming this for a Mayhem 4 anointment, hopefully. And as always, I'll leave a comment pinned to the top of the comment section, which will have the full list of all the legendaries we got from the full 50 runs of Tyreen at Mayhem 4. And if you guys want to check through that, you're more than welcome to. And on top of that, if you guys are looking for any weapons that you're struggling to get because RNG sucks, feel free to reply to that comment, or just comment down below and just be like, hey, I'm looking for this weapon and I'm struggling to get because RNG sucks. And if I have a spare, I am more than happy to send it to you. I am on PS4, by the way. If you guys are on PC and Xbox, feel free to comment down below anyway. There might be other people that are in the same platform and are keen to do some trades. But I'm more than happy to give away any spares that I have. I don't have spares of everything, but for the ones I do have, I'm more than happy to send them to you guys because I don't need 4,000 weapons. But just a heads up, it'll probably take me at least 2 days to get through all the comments and actually send you the guns because I'll be away for the weekend. I have videos scheduled, but I don't have reception, unfortunately, so I won't be able to reply to the comments for a couple days. But I will eventually get to all of them. Oh, and just a quick heads up, I did encounter a few glitches when fighting Tyreen. It happened twice, I believe. I downed on top of Tyreen via a VAR kit and she was on low health, and I managed to kill her whilst in Fight for Your Life to revive myself. If you do that, she shoots you into space, and I'll show you a clip on screen. It's absolutely crazy. I only started recording when I'd already been shot up because I wasn't recording at the time. But essentially, I did land it one time. I made it back onto the ground, but the other time it shot me way out of the map and I lost my legendaries. So if you guys are in that situation and you've been struggling for the fight or whatever, try and go for the VAR kids. Don't try and kill Tyreen because she'll just yeet you off the map. And yeah, that is all I have for the 50 kills of Tyreen on level 50 Mayhem 4 True Vault Hunter mode. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, don't forget to smash subscribe down below. Thank you very much. We actually just smashed through 2,500 subs, which is absolutely crazy. We were on at like 700 4 or 5 days ago. You guys are amazing. We have got this channel partnered, which is amazing, which means I can just work even harder at YouTube videos. So thank you very much for that, you guys. It's literally a dream come true. And if you guys want to leave a like down below and share with your friends, I'd really appreciate that as well, because it helps the channel grow. And yeah, other than that, I hope you guys have a fantastic day. I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, adios.